It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured. The Celtics are NBA champions.
A widely known fact is that the NBA is the pinnacle of basketball. The competition is more cutthroat than ever as Adam Silver looks at future expansion for the league's talent pool. Rarely will NBA players' careers follow a steady upwards trajectory, frequently having ups and downs in their careers. Often players will utilise the NBA offseason as a chance to develop their game and reflect on the season past. In today's video, I will show you 5 players who I believe will turn their career around and return to a reliable addition to any roster. Although all players are in different periods in their career, I still firmly believe that all players will have a bounce-back season, ultimately reviving their careers. Number 1. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons' fall from grace is probably the most well-known player's downfall the league has ever seen. The former first overall pick was once given LeBron comparisons, but the 6'10 guard refuses to even look at the rim if he was outside the paint, eventually being the limiting factor of what was a very disappointing loss to the underdog Hawks. Now officially 2 seasons removed from the holdout at the Sixers, Simmons seems to have regressed since entering the Nets, but I believe Ben is primed to lead a comeback season in a bad Nets side. I simply believe Ben Simmons is too egotistical to take a contract under double figures annually and will be well aware of his expectations. Furthermore, the Brooklyn Nets have fully ripped out the studs of last year's team by shipping Mikal Bridges away for a plethora of first-round picks and every other older and valued role player like Schroeder and Finney-Smith being rumoured to leave the New York-based team, reinforcing the notion of the Nets being a rebuilding franchise. Although a difficult situation for Simmons, he doesn't have to do much to show his value. Every GM and at-home fan is well aware of what Ben Simmons brings on a nightly basis. He defends at a high level with great anticipation and solid hands. He is also a very solid screener and is great as a playmaker, constantly pushing the pace and making the right pass. The expectation for Simmons will be his health. He will have to show that his back injury is well past him and won't impact his performance. Surprisingly, Simmons has been labelled as someone who hates the game of basketball. Although I don't necessarily think this is far from the truth, Ben still shows that he enjoys being on the court when available. The Australian could show good signs early, as well as playing 25 to 40 games up near the deadline and be shipped earlier to contender as the Nets progress closer to a deep 2025 draft and beyond. Number 2. Dyson Daniels. On Reddit, Twitter, and other basketball-related forums, the respect for Daniels as a player seems to be as low as can be as the former top 10 pick failed to have an impactful jump in his second season. Ironically though, for Daniels, he has the potential to be a DeJounte Murray clone. For an Atlanta Hawks team which is clearly looking to go in a different direction, receiving Daniels that could be the potential player in which you're trading out, plus capital received, could immensely fast-track the retooling phase for the Atlanta Hawks. The move could benefit Dyson as he won't have to create full-time or nearly as much as he did on the Pelicans, as I imagine he starts next to Trey at the 2 or as the first guard off the bench. The Hawks have an abundance of hard screening, lob threat centers, which greatly benefit Trae Young's playstyle, but could also have positive implications on the pick and roll and dive behind screen playstyle that Daniels enjoys. And I personally could see a jump from 10 to 15 points per game for Dyson with better than average defense in a fast-paced Atlanta Hawks offense. An underrated aspect of the Daniels trade is his Olympic eligibility. The Olympics could provide a much-needed confidence boost to the 6'8 Australian as he battles it out with teams that some argue could be that of the NBA's best. Furthermore, Atlanta aren't looking to contend at the moment, and getting reps into youth should be of high importance. Getting him in the right sets, getting him good shots, and continuing to develop his stroke from beyond the arc so defenders can't go under the screens as much as they do will be the key in his development into an S-tier role player. Number 3. Jordan Poole. Malcolm Brogdon is the perfect vet to help guide Poole's playstyle. Brogdon can be crucial in lowering turnovers, which aren't necessarily an issue at the moment, but he shows some brain implosion, coach killers, and rhythm destroyers from either erratic dribbling or passes too hard, too fast. Brogdon can further help improve his shot selection, as there are plenty of visions of Jordan Poole playing like he's playing against kids at a camp, not realizing he's in the NBA. Lastly, Brogdon can assist in slowing down the uncontrollable nature of his game. Brogdon in the NBA is no joke. The former Rookie of the Year flirts with the 50-40-90 club annually, so to think his locker room presence isn't going to vastly help improve the likes of Poole and Johnny Davis's confidence and overall game shows a lack of basketball IQ. Furthermore, the Wizards team is built a lot more serious than last year's in terms of productive vets and coaches. The team has low expectations this year from around the league, and with the introduction of quality talent and the second overall pick, Alex Sarr, Jordan Poole may not be game plan as hard. Brian Keefe, the new head coach of the Wizards, should experiment playing Poole at the 1, which I believe is the best position for him going forward. Poole seems better with ball in hand and oozes silk. Poole also has the unique ability to make something out of nothing often, which is another reason why the ball should be in JP's hands more often as Brogdon plays the 2. Another reason could be that Jordan Poole is now officially 1 season removed from the Warriors controversy, and the media and fans' eyes are no longer watching him as heavily, which could act as a bit of relief for the former champ. Poole needs to get back to a strong 20 points per game and 5 assists while still flashing the tools to be a league-level defender if he wants to remain viable. What he's doing now on the league's worst team simply isn't cutting it. Number 4, James Wiseman. Speaking of people who aren't cutting it in the league, the next athlete we have is James Wiseman. Accepted as a bust now after being selected between the People's Champs Anthony Edwards and reckless driver LaMelo Ball, the 2020 second overall pick has had a forgettable career up to this point despite having a ring on his resume. After arguably a career worst year, Wiseman's move to the Indiana Pacers is one of my favourites for both the organisation and the player. The backup centre position at the Pacers is as open as any position in the NBA right now. Besides Miles Turner, the big man depth at the Pacers is next to none. Although I would like to see the likes of Obi Toppin playing center in a small ball lineup, the Pacers are going to have to rely on Wiseman's productivity unless summer league or free agents are signed. Although there might be a level of bias in this selection, as Wiseman is one of my favorite all-time high school and college prospects, I do genuinely believe Wiseman's play is the perfect match for the Pacers, while Detroit remove another non-shooter. Wiseman is a freak of human anatomy. The already 7-foot athlete is equipped with a 7'6" wingspan, which allows his hand to get to the ball before any other players can even sniff it, and he is an offensive rebounding threat at all times. If Wiseman can't make it in a Rick Carlisle offense, his career is officially cooked. Lastly, we have Klay Thompson at number 5. Klay Thompson's decision to leave the Golden State Warriors for the Mavericks is one of the most polarizing decisions of the NBA offseason. However, I do believe Klay needs a change of scenery, and I think being the third option can do wonders for Klay. During KD's tenure at Dub Nation, Klay found himself amidst the most efficient years of his career, shooting over 50% from 2 for those years and averaging a blistering 42% from Trey, whilst being recognized as an elite tier of NBA defenders. Joining an already NBA Finals caliber team with 2 of the best solo creators in the world will greatly bring the offensive burden of Klay, which we all know the ways in which he was affected. Luka also opens up the floor astronomically. If he allowed PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. to be respected as 3-point shooters, Klay Thompson will definitely bring elite shooting and will be a pain to defend. Although I still have a few concerns for the Mavs and Klay. Going from a movement-heavy Warriors offense to Kidd's childish pick-and-roll and ISO-heavy offense, and how Klay can adjust to maximize the gravity of Luka and Kyrie without just corner-sitting. Secondly, Klay isn't an upgrade on Derrick Jones Jr. in terms of dominant athleticism and long defenders. The Mavs simply can't just rely on Washington, Gafford or Lively to anchor the defense. Although Klay and Kyrie can hang on their own on defense, playing Klay increased rotational minutes with Luka and Kyrie already on the floor does pose a limited defense. Lastly, in the final series versus Celtics, they exposed the weak shooting from PJ and Derrick Jones Jr. by daring them to shoot above the break threes. If Klay can shoot at least a high level from above the break, there is no reason why the Mavs couldn't hoist the 2025 Larry O'Brien trophy.
If you made it this far through the video, thank you very much. Although this is my first upload, I'm already working on a few others. My content now will mainly focus on the NBA and basketball, but in future could develop into a multi-sports commentary channel. If you like what you saw today and have any improvements for me to make, feel free to pop them down in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, thank you.